Hey guys, Coach Keith Kepner here. Going to run through this video where I'm going to talk about different Instagram boxing videos that I've seen that I'm sure you've probably seen as well. Maybe, or maybe you haven't. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Most of it's like the so-so, the ugly. And to be clear, as I jump into this, I am not personally attacking any of these boxers or coaches saying you suck and you know nothing. I am just simply giving my opinion as a boxing coach, and also from the perspective of what I specialize in, which is taking people from zero to almost any level they want to get to. All right, done that for years, and that's the mindset that I approach it with. So if you're a beginner or intermediate and you want to progress yourself up with a solid foundation, this applies to you. If you want to do some fancy stuff and cool dance moves and whatnot, maybe it doesn't apply to you, or just have fun while you train, because that's important as well. To be clear, as a boxer, it is grueling, hard training, so it is important to put some spice in there just so you don't burn yourself out mentally. And so some of this stuff that I'm even going to critique, it does have a place sometimes as far as just to mix up the monotony. But as far as like what is best use of your time, right? If you have a couple hours a day or an hour a day or 30 minutes a day to train and box, I'm going to make it very clear what you should and shouldn't work on. All right, so let's jump into it. First one, we have, the tennis ball. Boxing drills with a tennis ball. Swipe left. Well, I didn't know boxing included tennis, but I guess we will find out how that is the case. All right, so here's a classic one where you are punching a ball against the wall. And I love the small point that he has to hit. This is hard to do, but the downside to this is what happens if you miss the ball? You hit the wall. I don't want to replace walls, so I don't know about you. And again, what could you best do with your time? Shadow box, spar, things that are exactly boxing, and actually get you better at the technique versus just hitting a ball. Now, this one's actually a cool concept. And actually, this is where I'm going to cut it off on this guy. So, tennis ball will help you develop your timing, speed, accuracy, and coordination. Yes. Now, again, you have to ask yourself, though, for what? For a ball. It translates very, very, very little to boxing. Again, if you're going to spend an hour, and you spend that hour doing, shadow boxing, mitt work, sparring, drills with another partner, working defense with another partner, things like that, that's going to translate the most, because that is the thing, not this. Now, what I like about this, though, is that it is encouraging you to have an open hand and then a squeeze, a grab at the end, right? Because throwing a punch, you throw a punch, you don't push it, right? So it's not tight the whole time. And throwing a punch, like Chuck Bodak said, who we teach the lineage of, and Chuck worked with over 50 world champions, including he was the Olympic coach for Muhammad Ali. He said throwing a punch is like throwing a baseball in a guy's face. But at the end, you catch a baseball. So this is where this guy is definitely applying that concept. The one thing, though, I don't like about it, if you look on the straight shots, he's opening the hand up wider to wrap it around the ball. Versus when you throw a punch, it's kind of like, a relaxed hand, and then you lock tight at the end. So he's opening the hand up wider to grab versus just extending it out with it lightly open and grabbing tight at the end. All right, so having the idea of I'm going to flay my hand or splay, my hand out as I'm about to hit somebody could be problematic. Let's move on to the next video. Footwork. All right, let's get our footwork right, guys. All right, so cool. Let's see what he does. Okay, so he's doing hopscotch with it, and we know in boxing how often you put your feet together. Never, right? Or you shouldn't. It's hard to say never, but yeah, you definitely don't want to get in the habit of putting your feet together. Now this one, a little bit better. He's making some angles, kind of like jump switch around, Mike Tyson-esque type stuff. And that could be the best use of this one. The first one with the hopscotching, though, it's like yes, it's movement. Yes, it's coordination, getting your feet on certain points. Like, yes, there's a benefit, but not big benefit. All right? It's better than nothing. But again, if you're going to train and you want to progress as a boxer or build up your base as a boxer, not very beneficial. This one, maybe more so. And it's kind of, think about what he's doing with it. He's shadow boxing, right? But he is having to hit specific points on the floor, so there might be a benefit for that. One thing with shadowboxing, guys, I think about actually watching this video, is how important it is to remember to not look at the floor, right? So he's hitting certain points on the floor, so obviously you have to look to know if you're hitting the point or not. But that is where a mirror is important to kind of check where things are instead of looking down. Because I know for a while when I was shadowboxing, I was looking down to check my feet, and I created a bad habit of leaning down and forward, kind of like he is a little bit, and it wasn't good. And as well, you don't want to get in the habit of looking down at the floor. You want to get in the habit of looking up through your eyebrows. Chin is down, so the eyes naturally go down, but chin is down, looking through your eyebrows. Like I tell people, I want you to really work the muscles of your eyebrows to the point where they fatigue when you box, because you have that chin down and you have the eyes up. But yeah, so again, shadowboxing, better use of your time. Hopscotch, not so much. You can do that recreationally and not call it boxing training. All right, we have this one here. Okay, so this one, admittedly, when I first saw someone do this, I was like, looks interesting, and yeah. But when I've done it, I kind of, it has some use, again, mainly to mix things up. But the uses that I see is that it helps you throw punches while not being set. A lot of people in the beginning, intermediate, and even advanced people, they feel like they have to be set to punch. And with a constant movement of a treadmill, it does benefit you to have to just throw when you're not ready to throw. When I was kind of first started coaching some pro fighters, we had some fights up in Maryland at the Rosecroft Raceway, where I saw guys like Jarrett Hurd and a few others up and coming on small cards before anyone knew of them. And the one thing I was impressed with seeing that level, because of course Jarrett got up to championship level, was a champion, is that those guys could throw punches and not be set at all, and throw hard punches too. And so this type of drill, I think, has a benefit in that realm, as well as just leg conditioning, getting the feet moving, constant movement. So yeah, it's good. And then another way you can make it even better that I've done with some of my boxers, that's led me to appreciate this a little bit more, is to get on the front of the treadmill as the coach, hold mitts for them coming forward, right? Getting them push off that back leg and that constant forward pressure versus just backing up. Now, one downside you could say to this is maybe if you're a beginner, it's going to mess up your form, perhaps, or maybe cause some awkward habits, so you just have to make sure you're not heel stepping, things like that, which she is not. And then maybe going back in a straight line, perhaps, but again, I think it's a pretty good drill in general. Now that one, right? So we know it's for the gram, right? Because I'm sure she starts off every speed bag round with a kick, jump, whatever the heck. She's Ukrainian, so she's probably been in circus, or is it gymnast or something, whatever you call those. And yeah, again, it's just one of those things that, unfortunately, if it looks interesting, it might trend more on Instagram, and interesting is not always better. Obviously, I don't think you guys would think anything like this would be useful for training. So I will move on. All right, let's go here. All right, so we have this coach. And, okay, so he got punched in the face by a jab. Okay, wait, hold on. Let me watch this video again. Okay, he got punched in the face with a jab. Oh, coach, wait. Am I not supposed to get punched by a jab? Man, I've been messing it up this whole time. I thought I was supposed to get punched by the jab. And that's how I was going to tire out his arm, so I could then knock him out. Just kidding, right? Obviously, boxing, you don't want to get hit by a jab, and I appreciate Boxing Media 70 letting us know that. All right, so now what should we do? We should do that with the jab. This is something, the reason why I'm picking on this, because he does have a move that he does after this that lends itself to make some more sense. But again, all these guys in the back, I'm going to venture to say, are newer-ish to boxing. I don't think they're advanced, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you got some national champions back there. But building the base, I see people, they will see stuff like this. And then when they spar, some of our fighters starting out, and they'll freaking bar up a jab against the same stance opponent. And you are muting your jab. You are nullifying your own jab. So now you're taking away your jab as a weapon, which is the most important weapon in boxing. Sure, you're taking away their jab, but you're taking away your jab to get a right hand, which is what the whole point of this whole thing is. No. As your default, as your base, catch a jab, slip a jab, step around a jab, so that you have your jab. Lead hands interlock against opposite stance fighters. And that's why it's supposed to be hard to fight an opposite stance fighter. Because if I'm boxing a southpaw and I'm orthodox, both of our our lead arms, my left arm interlocks with their right arm, and they get all around each other, so you have to go, under, over, side to side, etc. That's supposed to be what's hard about it. So why are we doing this to make it hard? Also, too, with beginners to intermediate, trust me on this, guys. If you're starting off in boxing, thinking about getting started in boxing or having boxing, the smaller the movement, the better. It is less vulnerable for other openings, right? Harder to feint, to set up something else, to exploit you. And it's also less energy expensive as well. So actually talking to one of our fighters that was doing this a lot at one spot they were training at, and they're telling me how tired their left arm was getting. It's like, dude, yeah, your arm is going to get tired enough by jabbing when you're jabbing enough. Let's not fatigue it out more with that. With my philosophy, the way I coach, and the way we coach in our system at Kepner Boxing, the rear hand does the majority of the defense to leave your lead arm free for the most important punch in boxing, which is actually oftentimes the best counter punch in boxing, is the jab when delivered correctly, right? But it's kind of cool the setup he has off this, so he uses that to go for the right hand and look up top. So, that's cool. Here it is again, boom, bam, boom. Nice. Good little flavor, and again, at the end of the day, you don't get hit by the punch. So cool. But again, at what cost? Big move, wearing that arm out, nullifying your own jab. What should your base be? Not this. This can be a trick or a tool in your toolbox, but, I'm a little skeptical of it. Again, no judgment. I'm sure he's a great coach, was a great fighter, and I'm sure his people are great, but these are just my thoughts on it. All right, moving on. Yes, here we go. So, some guy, probably just some YouTuber. Oh, it's Mayweather. Okay. So here he is. This one, I want to share with you guys this because this is the foundation. This is not some Instagram crap. This is the foundation. All right, so here he is training, I think like his nephew or something, or maybe his son. But anyway, if you watch the step with the jab and the pivot on the right hand. I know for people that do boxing, you're like, yeah, duh, whatever. But you guys starting out, watch. He steps with the jab, brings the back foot. Step with the jab, bring the back foot, slides it right under him, pivots on the right hand, turns the foot, turns the shoulder. All right, such an important thing because Mayweather, obviously highest level fighter of his generation, and he'll do things a lot of different ways. So if you just do it how he does it in his fights and you don't mimic the foundation here, stepping with the jab, bring the back foot, stepping with the jab, bring the back foot, and then pivoting on the right hand, keeping the weight about 50-50 between both feet, chin is down. If you don't mimic that and practice that, you're not going to have it. And if all you have is kind of like falling with right hands and things like that, and different little things that Mayweather does, since he does have a base, you're going to have huge holes and flaws. All right, so I can't emphasize this enough. You'll be much more benefited training like how he's showing this young man here to train than some of these other ways that you see in some of these videos. All right, because if you don't have this base down, what are you doing trying to do like the jump switch thing around like a Mike Tyson, Nope. All right, going on to the next one. Oh, here we go. Now it's going to look like I'm picking on this boxing Instagram, whatever channel you call it. All right, so hand wrapping. All right, so I like how he did a double wrap on that. I don't think I know how to rewind, so whatever. But one thing is going around the thumb. I'll talk about the one thing. So, okay, it goes in between the fingers. Cool. Now, there's a challenge with this whole shebang, and that is, we'll pause it right there. The moment that this guy makes a fist with his hand, the padding is up here. So when you actually make that fist, it's going to be sitting a little bit up here, and your knuckles are basically almost exposed, where you need to have that padding here, because that is how you're hitting. You're not hitting here or even like that. You want a little bit on the front, not down, but a little bit on the front. Much more than this, in my opinion, and that will ensure good knuckle protection, which is the primary place you're going to have challenges. And I would say do a lot more. This looks like a short wrap, like 120 inches. But yeah, you see how high that is? That is super, super, uber high. See, it's all the way up there. The second this guy makes a fist, Everything's sitting on top of the hand, not on the knuckles, and yeah, no bueno on that. And a lot more padding. I think that's all you got with this short wrap here. Is that 108 inch? Oh. Anyway, I recommend for you to emphasize building up that pad on the knuckles. Make sure it's low enough, because that's the primary thing I see noobs doing, right, is you're putting all the wrap on the top. And new coaches too. I'm not saying he is a new coach. Again, not personal attacks, anything like that, just going through. Now, actually, okay, here's a kudos. Here's a kudos. So, good adjustments here. A lot of people, when they throw out a punch, they do actually turn over the punch. Most of the time it's not like that, but they don't pop that shoulder up and keep that back knee bent on the two or the right hand. And very important, popping that shoulder, bending the knee as you pivot the back foot, because if you don't bend the knee and you go up on the ball of the foot, guess what? You're going to be leaning forward and you're going to be off balance. So great point here by this channel after I had a criticism. All right. Now, here we go for this one. Again, and this girl here, I don't know much about her, but she is a legitimate fighter and everything else. And again, I'm not judging her merit as a fighter based off of this, but I'm just judging the training for what you can use if you're a beginner and intermediate. All right. Yeah. So anyway, with this one, with that ball, look how that ball is shooting offline already. It's not shooting right for where her head is, and that's where her head is. And then with this is not impressive at all. At all. With this, I don't even know what this is, and I don't even care what this is. You know, is she working on being a break dancer? But anyway, with this one, people have this problem with drills and things like that, where they will be practicing like a slip drill or something like that, and someone needs to shoot straight down the line for where somebody's head is, and they shoot like that off the line, so therefore their slip is just this versus actually where it needs to be, so therefore someone has to move the head enough to get it out of the way. And then with the speed bag, like I tell people all the time, speed bag is not truly hand-eye coordination. I mean, I guess it is in the sense of like seeing a speed bag and hitting the same point in the speed bag, right? And not just like going different places as you hit the speed bag. But you can get a speed bag going, like any of you guys will agree with me, I know you will, and close your eyes and keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. Once you got used to it a little bit, so therefore it's not hand-eye coordination, as demonstrated by here. So therefore having her blindfold on, it's just a bunch of hype. Nothing really that beneficial. I guess there's a meditative benefit. Okay, and here's again, this looks like I'm just bashing on this channel, but I guess I gotta shoot upwards because they have a ton of content and a ton of followers. But sliding the foot over, dirty trick. Okay, so full disclosure, I've never tried this move. Now, I've also never seen anybody do this move. And something tells me that it's not going to work very well. And again, if you're beginner or intermediate, I say definitely not something you should waste your time trying. Most guys you're going to be boxing against are going to be a little lead foot heavy anyway. I'm not saying they should be, but they might be. And if you're a little lead foot heavy, good luck doing a foot swipe. Because also, too, it's funny, it strikes me in a couple ways here, seeing it and talking about it. People say that the way, I make it sound like I'm going to criticize it, the way you beat a boxer is by taking out their lead leg. Not by whatever that is, but by kicking them, right, with like a Muay Thai leg kick. All right, so that's the classic thing, that if a Muay Thai guy is going to be fighting a boxer and he's allowed to kick, he's not going to get on the inside with the boxer necessarily, anything like that. He's going to teep him, which is like a jab in Muay Thai from my understanding. Again, I'm not a Muay Thai coach, I'm a boxing coach, but I have some basic understanding of other martial arts. And they are going to just chop that lead leg down because there's the weight on it. And that's kind of the fallacy for the boxer, because also as the boxer steps forward and things like that, that leg sets, and that's a good time to chop it as well. But so based off of all of that, like I said, if you have any weight on that foot, good luck tapping. If you see he actually lifts his foot up to walk it over, yeah. But maybe I'll be proven wrong on that one, but don't try it. Not worth your time. Much better to just throw the uppercut. All right, and then I have one more to finish off here. This is from Ryan Boxing Coach channel, whatever, page on Instagram. I'm so old. But yeah, he has a lot of great stuff, and he also has some like funny memes and stuff like that on his channel. But anyway, this is a great point video that he put together for Lomachenko on not accepting the clinch. The accepting the clinch is optional. That is such an important point, which fighters have a hard time understanding from many levels. I've seen obviously noobs, but even pros. They get tied up and they feel like, oh, I'm stuck. Nothing I can do. He tied me up. And here you watch Lomachenko gets wrapped up, pulls his arm out, boom, shoots the shot. And there's a lot of examples of like this. I remember this. There's like one example of Andy Ruiz doing this too. But there's just a ton throughout the whole history of boxing. But people like the classic boxer style, as described by some coaches, is long guy, boxer, mover, and do your shots, move around, and when the shorter guy gets close to you, wrap him up. Or when the guy trying to be aggressive to you gets close to you, wrap him up, shut him down, reset, boom. Now the challenge with that is obviously if you have someone that knows how to work out of the clinch, then they can nullify it. But then also as well, excessive clinching in pros is illegal. Clinching in amateurs is illegal, and the argument that you might come back at me with is like, "Whoa, I saw this fight where so and so clinched a bunch." Yes, it is dependent on the referee. I mean, you see all the time guys slightly hit behind the head or do questionable things, and it is the ref's discretion, right? Because the ref is God in the ring. So, and anyone that's fought will tell you that, where it doesn't matter that your guy is fouling you if the ref doesn't see it or doesn't choose to acknowledge it, right? I mean, there's really nothing you can do. You just have to find a way. And that's actually why one of the progressions I've had as a coach over the past decade plus is realizing I used to get like all like I get my butt hurt when people would do kind of like borderline illegal stuff in sparring to some of my fighters, like tying up excessively and things like that. And that's where I know that the ref's not going to be there to save you. You got to have a way to work out all that stuff. Someone even like wrapping you up behind the head, or someone doing just so many different little dirty stuff to you. I'm honestly like I don't condone it. I don't teach my guys to do it, but if it's happening to us in sparring, my first instinct is to have an answer for it, a way to nullify the borderline foul. Now, of course, I'm not talking about hitting people super low or things like that, or maybe excessively backhanding. But I mean, even if someone is backhanding, it's like whatever. But anyway, good example here of Lomo working and not accepting a clinch and doing a slight angle out of it. So anyway, so my point was that so those guys will train to be long. This person gets it close, you tie him up, shut him down, right? So get off your shots, tie him up, shut him down. Get off your shots, tie him up, shut him down. And you do that all night, and you can win a fight like that. Absolutely, you can win a fight like that. Now, again, you have a referee that doesn't like you or whatever, or wants to really enforce the rules or whatever. You could get points taken for it. You could get disqualified for it, right? So it's not a good habit, all right? You needed some other tools and some other ways to win, but not enough people, as Ryan Boxing Coach here on Instagram is saying, not enough people work on how to get out of the clinch. And that's something that I'm happy to say we've really worked on with a lot of our fighters, especially our shorter fighters, working how to get out of the clinch. Different ways, different strategies, different techniques, and finding a way to make what is pretty hard or feels really hard, I can tell you from experience, feels really hard when you don't know how to work out of it, a little bit easier. Because think about it too, oftentimes if someone clinches you, it's out of panic too. Sometimes it's a very cool, calm, strategical thing, but sometimes it's out of panic. And if you can keep them out of control and not let them gain that control by tying you up, the better you will do and the better fighter you will be. All right? So I'll wrap it up on that high note. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click like, click subscribe, comment on any thoughts you have on any of these videos. And again, I'm going to close it again. Not personal attack to anybody that I was critiquing, fighters and or coaches, just lending my thoughts and sharing my feedback from the perspective of taking someone from 0 to 1 or from mid-level to a higher level, and what type of foundation we need to be building. What do you need to spend your time doing? And again, I know part of the idea of Instagram and whatnot and all this social media stuff is eye-catching stuff. So obviously it it gets optimized to that. But wanted to shed some light for you guys that are on your journey. All right, watch out for the next video. Have an awesome day.